Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. This is a really simple, quick episode. But what I want to do is I want to remind you and reiterate that you do not have to have gut symptoms to have gut problems or to have to look at the gut. Every single person who cares about their health, about their longevity, should be looking at their gut, should be doing a comprehensive stool test. It is vitally, vitally important. It doesn't matter what your symptoms are. You can have fatigue, you can have brain fog, you can have anxiety, you can have weight gain, you can have blood sugar issues that are not GI symptoms, right? But your gut might be playing a big role in those symptoms because your gut will play a big role in those symptoms. The gut really underpins everything, right? Every symptom, you name it, the gut will be playing a role to one degree or another. We have a gut skin axis, a gut brain axis, a gut axis, a gut lung axis, a gut bladder axis, meaning the gut influences all these different places in the body, a gut bone axis. So we've got to look at the gut. You've got to be running stool testing every single year if you want to support your health and your longevity. And I want to show you an example today. So this is just one example of many that I have. And I was just working on this lady's protocol, and that's why I wanted to jump on real quickly and just to show you this. So this lady, she has not got any gut symptoms at all. Okay, she's pooping regularly. She hasn't got any bloating, any gas. And she probably thought that her gut was absolutely in tip-top shape. But it isn't. She's got other symptoms though. So this lady does have an autoimmune disease. And whenever there's autoimmunity, you want to check out the gut and see what's going on there. Because oftentimes there's inflammation that's running with autoimmune diseases. And when it comes to autoimmune diseases, inflammation does underpin them. I mean, inflammation underpins everything, and the gut is either increasing your inflammation or reducing it. I'm going to show you how. I'm actually going to share my screen. So if you're just listening to this, you might want to hop on over to YouTube. The link will be in the show notes and have a little look here because I'm going to show you. This is just one of the stool tests that we run in practice. And on these stool tests, what we can see is something called LPS and butyrate. If you cannot see LPS, lipopolysaccharides, or butyrate on the stool test that your practitioner has run, you have not run a good stool test. You have not run a stool test that's really going to enhance your health and support you moving forward with whatever symptoms you're trying to eradicate or your health, because you cannot see the very things that either increase or decrease inflammation, right? So I just said your gut's either driving inflammation or it's reducing inflammation. And one of the ways in which it's doing this is via LPS and butyrate. And it's the various bacteria in your gut that either make lots of LPS or not so much LPS, or lots of butyrate or not so much butyrate. So when it comes to LPS, we do not want lots of LPS. LPS stands for lipopolysaccharides, and it's a very, very um, inflammatory molecule. So we don't want a lot of this. It's found on the cell membrane of what we call gram-negative bacteria. And so again, when you're running the right kind of stool test that shows you hundreds of different bacteria that you have, you need that data. So if you've got a stool test that's only showing a handful of bacteria, you truly are not working with somebody who understands the microbiome. It's as simple as that, because looking at a handful of bacteria is going to tell you next to nothing. So when we have a look at your stool test, when we work with you inside the programs that I run, we look at all your bacteria and we can see which bacteria are driving this here on the screen, this lipopolysaccharide, this LPS. We can determine where it's coming from. And when you can determine where it's coming from, you can do something about it, right? So we know why this lady has a lot of LPS. I've drilled down into the back end of her data and I know which bacteria are pumping out LPS. She's got dysbiosis. That's what the problem is when you've got too much bacteria making the nasty byproducts, not enough of the bacteria that's making the wonderful anti-inflammatory byproducts, you have dysbiosis. She never knew. Although, again, her symptoms do tell us fatigue, very much a dysbiotic symptom oftentimes. Not only dysbiosis, lots of things can contribute to fatigue, but dysbiosis and LPS can be huge drivers of fatigue. Autoimmunity. This lady also is struggling with some infertility. So She's got a lot of LPS. On this particular test, we want her LPS to be under 50. So she's at 57.48. It is high. I've seen way worse. I've seen some dramatic LPS. So she's not as dramatic as what I've seen, but definitely has got too much LPS. But where this becomes even more problematic is if she has not enough butyrate as well, and she doesn't. So when we look at her butyrate here, we can see that she's very low. She's significantly lower on butyrate than she is high on LPS. But it's that positioning, right? It's backward. We want LPS to be really low and butyrate to be really high, because that means we've got a healthier gut. We haven't got as much or any dysbiosis if we've got that balance, and we've got lower inflammation, and that will trickle out into your entire body. We're talking systemic inflammation. It comes from the gut. And this lady has very low butyrate. We want that to be at least 40. She's not even at 30. So she's got this very backward pattern, right? Of that really high LPS. I wouldn't say really high, but it's high LPS and really low butyrate. But it's fine because we can do things, right? We know why, because I've got all the data. I can see which bacteria are too low and we want to feed those bacteria. The way we do that is with prebiotics, specially curated and selected prebiotics for her. So we're going to give her those prebiotics, but we're also going to tell her to eat certain foods, because we know what foods in the research feed the good bacteria that will make more of the butyrate for her. We might also bring in butyrate as a temporary supplement for her, not a long-term supplement. And then what we're going to do too is we're going to find out what are the bacteria that are too overgrown in her gut that are making the LPS, and we're going to knock them back. We might do a tincture, we might not. We might do specific prebiotics to knock them back. Sometimes we bring in some probiotics. There's a lot of different things we can do to knock back the bad guys and support the good guys. But this was just a reminder that you definitely do not have to be suffering with bloating or gas or distension or pain or indigestion or constipation or diarrhea to have a significantly unhealthy gut, and your gut being the main driver of the inflammation and symptoms in your body. Always, always run a stool test. If you're working on your longevity or you're trying to get rid of symptoms, you want to run a good quality stool test, because it really is the only way to make sure that you're ticking off every piece of the health puzzle. If you haven't looked at your gut with one of these stool tests, you just have not done what needs to be done as part of your healing process. So I hope you found that interesting. And if you do want to work with us, head to the show notes. You'll find all the details there. Come on over and join me at Tarathorn Wellness on Instagram. I recently changed my handle, so make sure that you go and search at Tarathorn Wellness. The link is in the show notes as well. And you can stay up to date on all things over there. And the other way that you can just dip your toe in or get my advice is by booking in to speak with me. I offer 30-minute consultations. The link for those are also in the show notes as well. And you can bring your stool testing, you can bring your blood work, you can bring testing that you've done, and you and I can sit down, have a little chit chat, and I can tell you what I see and what I think the next best steps are for you when it comes to your health and the best way to progress. So I hope that was interesting. Share it out with anybody you think might learn something from this, or has a lot of inflammation, or who's struggling with symptoms or autoimmunity or fatigue, but they're spinning their wheels. Maybe this might be the missing piece of the puzzle for them. So I hope that you have a wonderful day or evening, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now. I am not a medical professional, and the information provided in this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. I do not have access to your individual medical history or circumstances, so the content discussed here should not be considered as medical advice. Before making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, or considering the use of supplements, please consult with a qualified healthcare professional or your doctor to ensure it's safe and appropriate for your specific situation. Any decisions you make based on the content of this podcast are at your own discretion and risk. Thank you for tuning in.